So one of the most frequent questions I get from my audience is how much does it cost to be able to afford a Scat pack? I don't really get the Hellcat questions because obviously I have a Scat pack. But a lot of people ask me that question, you know, and I've done videos like this in the past. I don't know if I totally went and broke it down in those videos. They were a long time ago. So it's due for an update anyways, you know. So in this video, we're really gonna break it down, go through like the monthly costs and the yearly costs to make it a little bit easier on you guys that are looking into getting one of these vehicles, to see if it's in your financial ability to be able to own one of these vehicles, because it's not a cheap vehicle to own, especially right now with gas prices. You're gonna be at the gas station a whole lot. You better get used to that if this is something you're trying to get into. That's another question that a lot of people ask is, yo, how much is gas on the Scats, or you know, any sort of vehicle like this? And honestly, if that's even remotely an issue for you, or you think it's going to be an issue for you, this probably is not the car for you, because these cars are horrible on gas. That's just how it is. Like, people ask me all the time, yo, how is it on gas? Any sort of V8, you know, is not going to be good on gas, whether it's a 6.4, a 5.7, a 6.2, you know, whatever it is, it's not going to be good on gas. So that's just something you got to know right off the top. With all that being said, if what I'm talking about sounds like something you guys are interested in, stick around. We ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna get right to it. Without further ado, let's go. Real quick before we do get into it, if you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it. So I got all this stuff written down, you know, in my little handy dandy piece of paper here. And let's start off with how much you're going to pay when you initially get the car. And that's kind of tricky right now, because obviously cars are a lot more expensive than they normally would be with everything going on. With that being said, what you're gonna pay for a car like this, I'm gonna say 40 to 60,000. Because I'm sure you might be able to find one used for around 40, you know, depending on the year and everything. Definitely before, you would be able to find one maybe even in the 30s, you know what I'm saying? A used one, depending on the miles and all that. So I'm just gonna say 40 to 60,000 is what you're gonna be paying for one of these cars. And a lot of people, when they think of, oh, can I afford a car, they just look at the overall price and they forget about everything else, because there's a whole lot more than just that. So for a 40 to 60,000 car, I'm gonna say, and I didn't sit there and really do the math, this is just a little guesstimate, you know, depending on how much you put down, because there's several factors. Like I was saying, depending on how much you put down, you could be paying anywhere from, I'm gonna say $500 to $800 a month, you know, give or take. I pay $680, and I only put down, I believe I put down $1,000 to $2,000, something like that. Obviously, a lot of people recommend that you put down more. It just depends how long you feel like you're gonna keep the vehicle. When I got this car, it was something that I wanted to get for myself, but it was an investment. You know, I started my YouTube with this car, so I wasn't sure how long I was going to keep it for. So I didn't want to put a huge down payment on it, even though when it comes time to sell or whatever you want to do, you might get that money back. Do your own research on that and come up with a solid plan, but that's what I did, and I pay $680 a month. Also, another thing is, I would have initially paid $800 a month, but I negotiated, you know what I'm saying? You can negotiate the overall price, and that's what you really want to negotiate. So that's what I was negotiating, and in negotiating that, I brought my monthly down to $680, you know, and they were going to give me a higher interest rate. I said no, I got my own bank, and then they looked into banks for me, and you know, there's a whole lot that goes into it. So that's just a little side note, you know, don't go with the initial offer they give you. So for a $40,000 to $60,000 car, generally you probably be paying around $500 to $800, give or take. That's around, I think, I forgot how I came up with this number, but I think I just used some number in the middle of $500 to $800. So let's just say $8,400 a year. All right, so you got that. Next, you got insurance, right? And for insurance, that's gonna range as well. You know, it's not just a one answer fits all type of question. It depends on your age, it depends on your driving experience, it depends on your driving history. So there's a lot of different factors. What I pay, I started with, I think it was like 2 something. It was more than $200, but it went down, you know, with Geico. As long as you do good and you don't make any mistakes or nothing happens, it'll go down. So now I think I pay a little less than 200 now. I think it's like 180, 160. And I went into it, my driving history wasn't the greatest, so that's something you got to take into account as well. So what I put is, you know, you'll probably be paying anywhere from 150 to 300, maybe even more I don't know, it depends on your driving history and everything else that I mentioned. So let's just say 150 to 300 a month. I just averaged it to 200, so I put 2,400 a year. So there's that. Then we got gas. All right, and this is a big one, man, because if you're driving this thing every single day, and with the gas prices the way that they are, the number that I came up with, this is filling up 2 times a week, because you're gonna be at the gas station at least 2 times a week if you're filling up every single day. And I was kinda lenient, you know what I'm saying? I was being very nice with this number I gave, $60 to fill up your tank, because it cost me more than that. But this is just depending on where you're at. I'm in California. Gas prices are damn near $5 a gallon. You know, you got to go to Costco and you're still paying almost $4.50 a gallon, man, for premium, obviously, because you got to put premium in this. So I was nice and I put $60 a tank, which comes out to $500 a month. That's a damn bill right there, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole car note in itself. So what you're paying for gas in this, if you're driving it every single day, filling up 2 times a week, and it's gonna be more than that for some people as well. You're paying a whole other car note just for the gas. So a lot of you probably already at this point are like, man, this ain't the car for me. It's not a cheap car to be able to afford and to own. It's not a cheap car whatsoever, especially if it's gonna be a daily. And like I said, gas depends on if you're driving it every single day, where you live, and several other different factors. So it could be more or less depending on you and your situation where you're at. So we got that, all right? And we ain't done yet. Now we got registration, and this is a yearly cost. My registration just came in. I believe the first time I paid, I don't remember, I made a video on it. I know it was like 600. It was at least 600. I've heard of people paying 800 for their registration. I've heard of people paying less. So I just put $400 to $800 per year. And I looked it up online. I believe like the normal registration, from what I've seen, I was pretty surprised, you know, and it also depends where you're at. It said like 600 something, so I was like, man, that's crazy. So I put $400 to $800 per year, and that's gonna be more or less, give or take. All right, so that's for the registration. And then we got maintenance. You know, you still got to do the oil. You probably do that 2 times a year if you're driving it regularly. And that's only if you get it done every 6,000 miles. So if you get it done even more frequent than that, some people get it done every 4,000, some people every 3,000. Like, people really keep up on their oil a lot. So I just, you know, I was nice with this one as well, and I put 2 times a year at $300, $200 to $300. You know, generally that's gonna cost you, depending on if you do it yourself, depending on where you go. I know this takes a lot of oil, and it takes synthetic oil, so it's at least gonna be, you know, anywhere from $120 to $150 if you take it somewhere. So 2 times a year, we're just gonna say anywhere from $200 to $350. Let's just say $200 to $350 a year on oil, maybe even more. Like I said, that's only if you're getting it done 2 times a year, so take that into account. And then we got tires. Obviously that's gonna be, I mean, what they say tires should last you, some tires they say should last you up to 50,000 miles, but that's probably in a Toyota Prius. In this type of car here, in a year, how long have I had this car? I had this car 2 years, and I've gone through 3 sets of tires. So that's 1.5 per year. Next month will be 2 years since I own this vehicle, and I barely got these tires. So really, like, literally 2 years, 3 sets of tires. And if you have a wide body, that's gonna be 305s. Those aren't cheap tires, obviously. And in this car, you don't want to get cheap tires because you ain't gonna be able to keep traction if you're punching it. And I'm assuming if you got this type of car, you're gonna be punching it. You know, this is probably average, I would say, $1,000 per set of tires. The first set I got were the R888s after the initial ones that they came with, and those were like, I got a good deal, and I still paid well over $1,000. I highly doubt tires are gonna last you 60,000 miles in this car. Maybe they'll last you 20,000, you know, and the average person drives anywhere from 10 to 20,000, maybe even more per year. I drove like a little over 10,000. No, I drove like almost exactly 10,000 my first year, and the second year I drove less than that. So add that all up, that's generally what you're gonna be paying, and that's not to mention any little other maintenance things that happen to come up. If anything comes up, you never know. So let's do the math on that. First, we'll do the math on what it might cost per month. So let's say $500 to $800 per month for your payment. I pay $680. So I'm gonna put 700. I'm gonna put 700 for that. Insurance, I'll put 200 since that's what I pay. 500 a month for gas, 4 to 8 a year on registration. I pay around 600, so what? I'll put $50 per month for registration just to have it in there. Oil, I put 2 times a year. Let's just say your oil's costing you, I'm gonna put like 120. So 120, 240 per year. So that's $20 a month. We'll add it in there. Let's just say $40 for tires based on what I put there. So I got 1,510. That is per month. And this is give or take, you know, it could be more for some people, it could be less for some people, but generally I would say 1,500 a month is probably what you're looking at paying for this type of vehicle. So we add that up per year, that's $18,000 a year. Some people don't even make $18,000 a year. So you really got to do the math. That should give you a good idea if you'll be able to afford one of these, because this is not to mention all your other payments. You know, all the other things you got to pay for, like rent, if you have rent, other types of insurance, food, you know, everyday living costs. So I mean, there are the numbers for you. Do the math and see if it's something you'll be able to afford. Like I said, not a very cheap car to own. I believe I looked online and it said the average car for ownership per year is around, I think it was like $10,000 if I'm not mistaken. So this is a good $8,000, almost double what it costs to own a regular, you know, like the average of a normal vehicle. So yeah, there it is, man. I don't know. You guys tell me, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know if you think my math was off or if you think I'm pretty on point. You know, all my Charger owners, Scat Pack owners, do your guys' math and see what you guys pay. Let me know if it's similar to what I got here. And then my Hellcat owners too, drop a comment down below. We want to know what you Hellcat owners pay. I'm sure it's pretty similar, to be honest, but obviously it's going to be a little more for a Hellcat. So hopefully that helped you guys. If it did, like, comment, subscribe. It helps out tremendously. I appreciate it greatly. All links to anything you guys might need are down below in the description. The social platforms, the gaming channel if you guys are into that, everything I use and recommend on this channel, the 1391 merch and apparel. We got a lot of stuff over there, so go check that out, 1391.com. That's pretty much gonna do it for this one. Hopefully you guys are doing well out there. I appreciate you guys, like I always say. Until the next time, I'm gonna see you guys soon. Your boy Louie checking out. Salute.